So Donald Trump completely failed in trying to delay the official judgment in the New York Attorney General's civil fraud case from being entered against him. The clock is running for Donald Trump to post a bond in that case alone in excess of $400 million. Then he has the civil judgment in the defamation case brought against him by E. Jean Carroll for $83.3 million. Donald Trump's lawyer, Cliff Robert, tried to do everything and anything to delay the judgment in the New York Attorney General civil fraud case from being entered. But maybe, just maybe, when you attack Justice Arthur Engoron directly, post photos of him daily to engage in stochastic terrorism, including photos with his shirt off, maybe when you attack his wife, attack his son, attack his law clerk, attack his courtroom, attack every aspect of the proceeding, and continue to engage in this behavior, just maybe when you do that, and then you go back to Justice Engoron and say, please, Judge, can you do something for me that the law does not allow? Can you please help me, Justice Engoron? Maybe you're not going to get the response you want, and maybe you will not get a receptive audience. I just want to go through with you Donald Trump's pathetic tactics, each step of the way, how it failed, and then Justice Engoron dropping the hammer on Donald Trump. So Donald Trump's lawyer, Cliff Robert, sent a letter on February 21st, 2024, after New York Attorney General Letitia James submitted a very simple form that basically was directed at the clerk saying, hey, clerk, here's a form. Justice Engoron issued a decision and order. Can he just put those numbers into this form? Because essentially, the order has to be placed into an official judgment and be entered by the clerk to go to the next step. Just very basic. You know, Justice Engoron's order is very detailed. Just put that into this kind of final judgment form. Then Donald Trump's lawyer responded with a letter on February 21st, 2024, and Trump's lawyers say, we write on behalf of Donald Trump and all of the defendants, and they say that, oh, the New York Attorney General is now filing a motion. They called it a motion to conform the judgment. So therefore, we want the ability to respond to this motion, and what really should be happening here is a directive to settle the order, and so we need to settle the order, not simply sign off on a judgment, and that's going to take a lot of time, Judge, and so we need more time to officially respond to this. The New York Attorney General is engaging in improper behavior. So that was Donald Trump's lawyer, Cliff Robert, saying that to Judge Engoron. Now, Justice Engoron responds by email, which is the procedure in New York State courts, and Justice Engoron says, Dear Mr. Robert, Trump's lawyer, Cliff Robert, I have compared the language of the Attorney General's proposed judgment to the language of my February 16, 2024 decision and order, and the former New York Attorney General Letitia James form exactly tracks the latter, the judgment, except for the addition of some addresses, defendants' addresses, and blanks for interest amounts. Please let me know, Cliff Robert, by 5 p.m. today, that would be 5 p.m. on Wednesday when that was sent, of any specific ways and how your counter judgment would differ. Given the foregoing, I see no need for a motion or conference on this. Signed, Justice Engoron. So, show me the counter judgment. How is what you are going to file, how is that going to differ from what I put in my decision and order and what the Attorney General did by basically just copying and pasting that into a frickin' form? How's it going to be different, Cliff? So then Cliff Robert responds, now, what a good lawyer would have done here, or a lawyer who listens and actually responds to what the judge is asking, you'd respond with your own counter judgment. You'd say, here's my counter judgment. So this is what you should lodge instead. But that's not what Cliff Robert did. Why? Because Donald Trump and his lawyers are bad faith actors. Probably the biggest compliment that they could receive, because they're far worse than that. But these are bad faith actors who are just after delay, delay, delay. And here's what Cliff Roberts' response was after getting that email from Justice Arthur Engoron. Cliff Robert goes, "We write on behalf of all defendants in response to the court's email today." Goes on to say, defendants, including Trump, respectfully request to submit that the concerns raised in the letters of today's date about the Attorney General's unilateral submission of a proposed judgment to the clerk of the court, stating that is made on motion, merit full compliance. In other words, we need to have a full motion briefing schedule here, Judge, and what you are doing by simply directing the clerk to issue this judgment based on your decision and order is improper. And Trump's lawyer goes on to say, should the court decide that the standard process set forth in the CPLR and the uniform civil rights for the Supreme Court of the county do not apply in this case and proceed to enter the Attorney General's proposed judgment, defendants request that the court stay enforcement of the judgment for 30 days. Given that the court-appointed monitor continues to be in place, there is no prejudice to the Attorney General in briefly staying enforcement to allow for an orderly post-judgment process, particularly given the magnitude of the judgment. That was their letter to the judge. We need more time. Stay it. Delay, delay, delay. Well, Justice Arthur Engoron is going to respond in a bit, and I'll go over his response to you. But here is the New York Attorney General's response. Dear Justice Engoron, we write to respond briefly to Cliff Robert, Mr. Roberts' letter on behalf of defendants, objecting to plaintiff's proposed judgment. We agree that the prejudgment interest on the disgorgement amount against Weisselberg should begin on January 9th, 2023, as provided for in the court's decision and order. We disagree with the remaining points raised by defendants. The court's decision did not direct the parties to settle judgment, so there was no need to confer in advance of submitting plaintiff's proposed judgment. We are not aware of any provision of the CPLR, and defendants do not cite any, that requires the filing of any formal motion on notice to submit a proposed judgment for the court's review and approval. The formal motion on notice to submit a proposed judgment for the court's review and approval, the conclusion and order section of the decision on pages 91 and 92, sets forth in detail what is to be included in the judgment, leaving no room for further debate. This isn't a debate. Nor do defendants provide any basis included in the judgment, leaving no room for further debate. Nor do the defendants provide any basis for staying enforcement of the judgment. Indeed, they requested such relief in their post-trial brief, which the court declined to grant. Finally, the court should reject defendants' attempt to change the business address of 6 entity defendants to Florida, as the record establishes those entities are located in Trump Tower at 725 Fifth Avenue in New York, the office building in which the executives who carry out the business activities of those entities work. Smart. You see the sneaky thing that Trump tried to do there? What his lawyers were saying is, Judge, in the judgment, use a Florida address. Sneaky, sneaky. But the New York Attorney General's office saw it. Why would Trump want to do that? Change the address to Florida and then argue that New York does not have the jurisdiction to seize the assets. Sneaky, sneaky stuff. But New York Attorney General was smart and saw right through it right there. I'll do a whole nother hot take on that. Justice Arthur Engoron then responds, and I love this in basically one sentence. The response right here was, Dear Mr. Robert, you have failed to explain, much less justify, any basis for a stay. I am confident the appellate division will protect your appellate rights. Justice Engoron, boom, judgment enter, boom. Signed by the court to the county clerk. Boom. Pay up, Donald Trump. Pay up. I'm Ben Meiselas. This is the MeidasTouch Network. Let's get to 3 million subscribers together. We're at 2.1. Let's get to 3. Have a great day.
Hey Midas Mighty, love this report? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch to keep up with the most important news of the day. What are you waiting for? Follow us now.